153 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th. And there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said
no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi Dad, I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with all decent clothes? Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
Home for that.
But Sebastian, who has autism, hasn't been home since February of last year. After dinner at the Texas Roadhouse on the 25th, Katie says she and her son went home.
Did anything happen the night he went missing that might cause him to run away? Was he punished in any way? An argument? Just a normal night?
It was a normal night. It was a calm night.
That turned tumultuous by the next morning.
When I went in his room and he wasn't there. He wasn't in his bed.
Katie says she frantically searched the house and drove around the neighborhood at 6:30 a.m. until she and Sebastian's stepfather, who says he was away for work at the time, called police.
We need you to search your properties every day.
But an Amber Alert and an extensive week-long search didn't yield one significant lead or even a glimpse of the boy on any doorbell cam video. Days later, investigators combed through a landfill 2 hours away, still saying they had found nothing.
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I apologize, I have been out for a little bit. But thank you guys, as always, for the love and support. I see all of that in the chat, and it means the world to me. Sure, most of you guys know I've had stomach issues for well over a year. Gotten better. I've been on probiotics that have been helping, and diets, but I still have whatever's lingering. I still haven't had it fully diagnosed. I don't have health insurance, so it kind of limits what I can do. I still have a doctor, but I can't get certain procedures done without proper insurance. So it kind of, unfortunately, leaves me in a tough position. But anyway, I am feeling better, and I do appreciate the love and support. But yes, here we are, Sebastian Rogers case. I saw somebody mention that this is the first time watching the show. Or first time watching or learning about the case. Sorry, good message here. And that's good. More people, the better. Oh no, I appreciate that, Pocahontas. No, I'm gonna take a break from fundraising. But I do appreciate that. That is very sweet. I'm sure we'll get back on track. But anyway, back to Sebastian Rogers. Here we are, nearly 2 years. What are we at? The 18th. So we got 8 days, more or less, seven or a week, really, because it is the 25th. He was technically last seen, so really a week away. But I guess I don't know. Now that they changed the date, would the anniversary be on the 25th now or the 26th? Either way, but um, anyway, I thought today I'd do two different parts. I thought we'd kind of go over what have the Stink Feet done in the past 2 years now. Go over a few of the interviews. There are some interesting stuff. It's really interesting to see some of these interviews nearly 2 years later, and all the stuff that we've kind of learned through different interviews and sleuthing, and then go back and listen to these and understand it and see it from a different light. So we'll touch on that. The second part is Green Hoodie, because I know the last time when I was covering the case, there was a kind of a spark in the interest of Green Hoodie. I believe at night had posted, I forget how long ago, seems ages ago now, a controversial post about it being possibly a male. I, I can't say 100% one way or another. I believe it's a woman, but then there's other ways to kind of decipher who this person could be. And the last thing I did was working on the height of the approximate height of the person and different ways we could do that. And as I was going over that footage, I realized I forgot that Katie, when she walked into Texas Roadhouse, she actually crossed the same path as Green Hoodie. So what I did is I overlaid those two where they're walking into Texas Roadhouse at the same time. And you will see, and also Sebastian Rogers walked in that same exact spot. And anyway, when we get to it, I will show you guys. I think we could narrow down the height to a few inches, in my opinion, and see what you guys think. Let's see here, but yeah, let's get started with the first part. But and then also, what was the other thing? Trying to decipher what was on Green Hoodie's jacket or hoodie. I do think that can be figured out, and I am working on that along with other people. And then there's something else I was looking at as I was looking at her hoodie, and just kind of curious if we could see what appeared to be maybe something in the pouch before she walked up to Katie. It's kind of tough, but when we cross that bridge, I'll show you guys. Yeah, I saw that, Cat. I noticed they had posted some stuff with Craddock and maybe some connections to politicians or something. I just got a brief look at it, so correct me if I'm wrong in that, but that was the last thing I saw from them. Again, I really believed in At Night in the beginning, and I just kind of disagree with the direction they have went in the past year, which is really a shame in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, of course. But anyway, let's get going. Hey, Christopher, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well, my brother. Yeah, Deanna, I definitely think Green Hoodie has kind of a distinct walk. But yeah, not to get too, because that'll be the second half of the show. But I promise you, I definitely got some very interesting stuff, and I'll probably release a short on that because I completely forgot that Katie did actually, when she entered, they both walked in the same, because you have a fixed camera, and they both walk in the same spot. And if you can clearly see above their head, because, a good portion of it, they're kind of cut off, but as they do kind of walk near the handicap post, we can kind of see the edge of their head, and they all walk right in that same spot. So if I just, took both their, the two videos, two different clips, and then overlaid them, you guys will see the height, and we'll definitely get to that. So anyway, hit that like button. Let's start with what Sumner County Sheriff Office has done in this case, which is, in my opinion, very effing little. Here we have a Chat GPT report, and this goes over really their main stuff in the past 2 years. And we have the February 26th, obviously, the initial report. For those that don't know, Sumner County Sheriff's Office is the lead, although we have TBI and, the help from FBI. But Sumner County is the lead. And so obviously putting out a post, an Amber Alert, and some interviews, in those first couple weeks. And then kind of went quiet. And then we got a press conference in April. I think it was right at the beginning of April. And we'll look at that because there are some interesting things in that interview that we'll play that I thought was very fascinating. And then we don't get anything until December 16th with the green hoodie, where obviously at night posted the green hoodie video. Actually, that should be December 17th. Well, maybe they put it. I don't know. I'll have to look at the dates, but it was December, early December. And then we have the 1 year anniversary where they really just made a statement, and then they had to correct good old fish sticks about there was the video that what I call that 1 year anniversary con. And then the only other one it pulled up, which was not too long ago, was, and this has happened many times, where there was a photo that was believed to be Sebastian, but it wasn't. So again, just looking at that for 2 years, that as all they have done, really, which is just unbelievable in my opinion. Yeah, Grok is nice. ChatGPT, yeah, unless you pay for it, when you first sign up, it lets you go to town with it, and I think that's on purpose. And then as you use it more and more, you start to know that they limit you, and then of course try to get you to, buy some kind of subscription. I don't blame them for doing that, because it is such a nice
circled here
thing to
in
have.
an area behind the teen's home. Since we first aired the video last month.
So just going into Sumner County, and then we'll go in just a few highlights from the press conference, because there are some interesting things between Craddock and the TBI agent. I forget her name. But I think there's a difference, a noticeable difference between their mentality and how they're speaking, and what they say. I think it's very interesting, kind of looking back as we're here, 2 years later.
Authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know. So yes, it could play a role.
So many are, of course, closely following this case.
How difficult has it?
I'm joined today by Susan Nyland, SUSAN, NILAND.
So this would be the press conference in early April. The first one official, the one and only for Sebastian Rogers' case. And if anybody's wondering what's going on the right side, that is, it just so happened when they were doing the press conference, they had found Riley Strain, and so the video on the right is them, and I think that might even be Cajun Navy, or looking for them, or looking for Riley.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, she's the PIO. I also have with me Sumner County Emergency Management Director Ken Widener, KenWeidner. You guys ready? All right. Morning. I'm Eric Craddock with Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and we're going to come to you today with an update on the Sebastian Rogers case. Sebastian has been missing since late February. The investigation remains ongoing with steadfast support from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
So for anybody who doesn't know, this is kind of the main detective lead, Sheriff Craddock. There's been some controversy with him, and in this, he, in my opinion, he lies at the very least twice, but one just blatant lie. And I have several people have reached out, and we'll cross that bridge here in a minute. But notice the difference between Craddock, who obviously represents Sumner County, and then when we move over to TBI, I feel like TBI, the lady there, she reveals a lot more, and I think she kind of tells us, where the, after the first couple weeks of them searching, not getting anything really, massive search, Crispy is even quoted as saying is literally one of the biggest, he calls it manhunts in Tennessee, which is true, just to show you how much, manpower was used in this case, and yet zero evidence of him, wandering off, or any evidence of clothing or anything.
And many other local and federal resources. We are exploring every lead that comes in and every tip that comes in. As I said before, the investigation remains ongoing.
That's such a good question.
The entire community is deeply saddened by what has occurred. We're all extremely concerned for Sebastian's welfare. I want to encourage the community to stay vigilant, to report anything that they think may be of some significance to the investigation, no matter how minute it may appear to be to you. Please call 1-800-TBI-FIND with any tips, or the Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838. We understand the anxiety and the concern that this case has caused in the community. We too share the anxiety and concern for Sebastian. I want to reiterate that we are doing everything we can to find Sebastian and bring him home. Despite the passage of time, the commitment to finding Sebastian remains unwavering. I said this when we scaled the search back. Our commitment to finding Sebastian remains. We will continue to investigate every possible lead that comes in. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office wants to express our gratitude to the community and the many individuals who have helped in the search, the many individuals who have called in tips, the many individuals who have printed flyers and kept Sebastian's face in the news. Nothing would make me happier than to wake up tomorrow morning with a tip that cracks this case wide open and we find Sebastian and bring him home. At this time, I'll turn it over to Susan Island from the TBI.
Susan Ireland? Susan.
And we
I wanted to catch her last name.
From the TBI.
Oh.
Thank you, WG.
Than to wake up tomorrow morning with a tip that cracks this case wide open and we find Sebastian and bring him home. At this time, I'll turn it over to Susan Island from the TBI.
Thank you, WG. Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here. We know how invested everybody is in the search for Sebastian.
So to me, this is where she says some very interesting stuff. I know a lot of people have gone over this a million times, but again, it's interesting to go back 2 years later after everything, for those that have been following this case religiously, and all the ins and outs, rumors, sleuthing, what have you. And now having more context to certain things. Again, there's so much we're in the dark of, but I find it very interesting what she says here. That, in my opinion, just tells me exactly how this case went from, a massive manhunt for Sebastian to, oh, we've got footage and everything else, and we need to. And she even says it here. I'll just play it.
In finding out what happened to him and bringing him home. And we want to let everybody know he has not been forgotten. Nobody's forgotten about him. Nobody has given up looking for him. At the beginning of this investigation, there was a large land search for him. It was very visible. There were also waterways, lakes, ponds that were searched. There were aerial searches with helicopters and drones and fixed-wing planes. They were done at night. They were done on weekends. They were done during the day. That was very visible, and it was something everybody was able to see. But we want to let you know that even though there is not that high visibility in investigating this case, that we are not done. It's gone back to what could be considered good old-fashioned police work. Interviewing individuals, re-interviewing individuals.
And why would you do that unless you got to, a dead end in your manhunt, and now you're getting, evidence such as electronics, video, and now it is now changed the direction of the investigation. And she basically says that.
Checking out leads, rechecking leads. We have been working with other law enforcement agencies who have had, in other jurisdictions, who have perhaps had some complex cases of their own that they have worked on to get tips from them. We have had, this day of technology with everyone having.
So here's the big one.
Cell phones and doorbells and ring bells and surveillance cameras. That, as you can imagine, has been a bit of a chore to be able to collect all those and then review them. It's important so we know what's out there. We have been reviewing that, reviewing it again.
And let me just replay that because I think that is huge. And then just think, for those that have been following me on this channel and what I've been doing with, the cemetery footage, just with hindsight, having that, going through that. And so I can kind of relate to a little bit of what, they're going through behind the scenes.
Technology with everyone having cell phones and doorbells and ring bells and surveillance cameras. That, as you can imagine, has been a bit of a chore to be able to collect all those and then review them. It's important so we know what's out there. We have been reviewing that, reviewing it again. We have had other agencies involved. The FBI has been helpful in that.
And I don't know why you would be reviewing something over and over. This is why I find this interview very fascinating, because it just, sorry, my mouse cord keeps getting caught on something. It reminds me of what I go through when I had to, get all the cemetery footage. I mean, I had to keep reviewing the same thing over and over and over because it just kept revealing new and new stuff. And so now with what I experienced and then what she's saying tells me, that they have gone through similar situation, maybe not with the cemetery footage, but with other footage.
Secret Service has also been helpful in that. So we are just trying to do whatever we can to advance the investigation. It has not gone to a place where anybody has forgotten about him or is not pursuing this. The parents have been cooperative throughout. At the beginning of the investigation, they have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them.
I thought that choice of words, pretty much done what we've asked for.
At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now, so we are pursuing any and all avenues. We do want to caution there are some social media elements out there who purport to have information that is direct from the investigation. I just want to reiterate that that is not the case. Some of the information that is being provided on some of the social media channels is inaccurate, incomplete. We don't want this to damage the investigation. So,
yeah, but that's been going on for years, and that is going to be the norm. So, get used to it. Oh, there was a comment here I just wanted to grab. Moose, 2 years later reviewing again, really? Well, here's the thing. So I don't know how much you followed my channel. Again, I'm not perfect. But there's a case that I worked on, Aiden Clune. He went missing around the same time as the Dylan Rounds case. You may have heard of that one. Probably not Aiden Clune because he sadly got overshadowed. There's only, when these cases like this, there's what I call the one percenters, Sebastian Rogers, Dylan Rounds, Amy Smart, or Elizabeth Smart. I'm sorry, not Amy Smart. That's an actor. Elizabeth Smart, and and then there's 99%, hundreds of thousands missing person cases, families involved that, I'm sure they would give up, their left arm to be able to have the national attention that this case has. But just one thing I just wanted to point out, not to single you out, you're entitled to your opinion. But in the Aiden Clune case, not to get too sidetracked, for those that don't know that case, and again, I'm not going to go missing. Images, but it was Aiden Clune. I worked on this case personally with the mother and everything. He went missing in 2022. I did many searches every year with them. And in 2024, I think it was 2024. Yeah. Nothing had been found of his. Not to get sidetracked, the long story short, he was dealing with some mental health issues. It doesn't seem to be a foul play case. It just seems this kid sadly was going through some mental health issues, pulled his truck over in northeastern Nevada, he just pulled his truck over on the side of the highway and walked into a mountain range and was never seen again. Long story short, we did a bunch of stuff through those first 2 years, never found a single thing of his. So what did we do? We literally went all the way back to the beginning, got the reports that we had, and long story short, we found a report that had his cell phone records, and it gave us a triangulation. There was only one cell tower, so they couldn't triangulate his last phone ping before it just died or whatever. Anyway, we used that with a lot of other stuff. Again, just going back to the beginning and just using some of the top stuff that we had as far as evidence, tips, leads. And we put together kind of a, most likely scenario of where he could be. And lo and behold, we went out there in, I want to say May or June. It was in the middle of summer of 2024, and we ended up finding his shoes. In 2 years, not a single thing of his was ever found. And that was really tough for the mother because there was like sightings of him in Utah and all this. And so the mother was kind of skeptical. And of course, any mother in that position would want to believe that their child's still alive and somehow made it out. And we were able to go back and we found those shoes. Sadly, it oh, she meant the TBI. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misread that. Okay. Well, anyway, maybe I missed the context before, but anyway, I do feel like it's a good thing to go back to the beginning. But yeah, maybe I missed some context before that. So anyway, but that's another case that I would love to finalize because, man, yeah.
We would just caution anyone who is following the case to just use some caution as to what you see and what you believe. It's caused a bit of a distraction because a lot of what has been out there in some of the social media channels has been rumors and speculations and theories, and some of that has been advanced and people have caught a hold of it as if it's what's really happening. That has resulted in us getting information that is either, like I said, distracting. It's taking away time and effort from what the agencies need to be doing as far as looking for Sebastian. We have had so far, as of this morning, 314 tips that have come in through the tip line. It's been mentioned, but I'll say it again. It's 1-800 inclined to be in their yards. If you go out and see anything that looks different everywhere we can, we do want to continue to get the tips, but please don't provide information that you might have seen through social media channels. If you have information about Sebastian, about conversations you might have had with him, things he likes to do, places he likes to go, any people.
Now, notice the demeanor between her and Craddock. I thought it was very 180. She seems a little open, telling us about the ring cams, going over those, a little bit behind the curtain. Not really, but, at least she's giving us a little something. And then we move back to Craddock.
From the very first day, everybody has really been all in as far as whatever they can do to help in the search, to help pass information.
Involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't.
Okay, and then I think there's 4 questions. I think we'll just focus on the 3. There's one that I really want to focus on, and then we'll move forward. Is it Nilland? Okay. I have bad hearing, so those kind of garble together, in my opinion. Real quick, Lisa, thank you so much for the $4.99. It really helps, especially since I've missed a lot. God bless you, Lisa. You are wonderful. Geneva, huge supporter, member for 3 years plus. Glad you're feeling better. Thank you so much. I am going to try to, because I know the Guthrie case, is very popular, so I'm going to try to kind of maybe switch back and forth. So yes, that way it doesn't get stale. The Blue Third, donating super chats. That means the world. Thank you so much. And Moose, I do apologize. Yeah, I do apologize. Maybe I missed a comment before. So my apologies on that.
At this point of foul play or anything of that nature?
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved. In
early April.
But at this point, you don't rule it out.
We're not ruling anything out.
So 5
24.
weeks, and you guys covered so much ground. Searching, going
That's
back,
Nick Barris.
researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed. Not a trace of Sebastian anywhere. Nothing found. No footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taking us to locate Sebastian.
And are there any working theories?
We come up with theories almost daily and try and investigate and make sure that we're doing everything we can.
So one thing that I want to point out.
When you asked about recent evidence, we've heard some rumors that you seem to have some validity, that there was glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm?
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report.
Oh, here we go.
They've claimed they've received threats.
Oh,
Still
sorry.
investigating.
Here.
And on the Cajun Navy, have you found how is that coordination happening? Have you found their work helpful? Are you guys working in unison or a separate team?
The Cajun Navy is operating independently. They have not reached out to us.
And that's a lie. I mean, they've done a couple of interviews, a couple of people from Cajun Navy, and I've had not actual interviews, but phone calls with at least 2, maybe 3, that were involved directly or kind of indirectly, kind of helping behind the scenes with Cajun Navy, maybe. And let me tell you, they were just absolutely shocked at this press conference.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful, or has it been one of the distractions that have been mentioned?
One of the things that I really appreciate they've done is print flyers and keep Sebastian's face out there. It's my hope that one day somebody sees something and calls in and this case breaks wide open and we find Sebastian.
They've claimed they've received threats. To your knowledge, have they filed any police reports or reports to the Sheriff's Department documenting any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
So here's one of my theories, and I'm sure it's not much of a stretch, but obviously covering true crime for 4 years, and speaking with former law enforcement detectives, they're not entitled to tell us the truth. And, a lot of the times that's just to protect the integrity of the case. With that said, though, I think they kind of buried themselves early. Just one of my theories. I think they accidentally, I don't know if accidentally or just ignorance or whatever, they kind of buried themselves with not being transparent to their best ability. I understand an early case, they need to really keep stuff close to the vest. But, lying about this, which clearly they lied about, they had death threats. They did report it to all the different agencies. And anyway, yeah, Alan, I will do that. Maybe tomorrow because I got to catch up on some lives. Hopefully, my stomach will be good to me. And I may try to kind of rotate Sebastian one day, the Guthrie case the next, and kind of go back and forth so that it doesn't get stale. But anyway, let me know what you think. I think they kind of, with the flashlight video, they lied, blatantly lied, saying it was garbage truck, right? And not only that, they told all these people, behind the scenes that they're interviewing locals, that it was a garbage truck. Locals that lived in that neighborhood that thought that's ridiculous. There's, they knew where that surveillance was pointed at. They, they knew it was BS. And when they even kind of said like, hey, this isn't right, they snapped back at these people. So I do think they started to bury themselves early, and I wonder if that just kind of started to snowball. In one theory, hypothetical.
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
I appreciate that, Miriam. I can't do that with.
Go from here. It's been 5 weeks. There's been no signs. Do you believe he's still alive? And what are you guys going to continue working on?
My hope and prayer is that Sebastian is still alive, yes. We're going to continue to work on this investigation and follow up every tip and lead that comes in. Some of this may revert back to us going over some things that we've already done for the 6th, 7th, or 8th time. A fresh set of eyes never hurt anything. We're
100% agree with that.
We're going to continue to work to find Sebastian.
Have the stories been changing at all as you've been talking with people, interviewing them for a second time possibly?
There is no evidence to support foul play.
Are there any active currently that you guys are pursuing?
Okay, so I think that's about it. But the main thing is the demeanor between Craddock and Susan there. I think it's a 180 in my opinion. And then I think they kind of buried themselves real early, and it's like, oh, if we got to come forward with this, then if we kind of told a white lie about one thing, then what else did they lie about? And then did they just figure, maybe we should just shut our trap and...
Those tips seem legitimate enough to expand law enforcement resources.
Regardless of their legitimacy, we're going to follow up on them.
Will there be any other agencies pulled in to help in the search efforts for this case?
I'm certain there will be. Let me put it to you like this. If my kid was missing, this is the team I'd want on it. The men and women of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the FBI partners, the other local agencies, the Secret Service, everyone who's had a hand in this case is doing everything they can to find Sebastian. Morale's high. We are here and we are dedicated.
You had all those resources and you were looking in the wrong direction in the very beginning. I think you buried yourself in a hole. So that was the presser that happened early April. I'm going to say like April 2nd-ish is when that happened. And then we get nothing from them. I don't know if they did a little small response to the FBI reward. I don't know. I didn't pull up, not to say they didn't have some kind of Facebook. The only thing with ChatGPT is sometimes it won't find all the Facebook stuff. It's not perfect, obviously. But then the next thing we get from them, and again, this is the lead agency, for 2 years, not a lot going on here. If I were to pull up the Nova Scotia, in the case with Jack and Lily, the press conferences, the them going to the captain or whatever, and being able to interview them, and obviously a lot of the questions they can't answer, but they still do it, even after I know, again, I'm not really up to date with that case because I haven't covered it, but I know there were some issues with Daniel in some unrelated case. I don't know if it could be related to the children, but I know probably people in chat could elaborate better on that. But what I'm trying to say is I do recall, the reporter going in and doing an interview, and talking about who's persons of interest, and at least they, still are being transparent to the best of their abilities, but nothing. So then we have the green hoodie, which to me is, of course, just forced that they had to come out. This one's very suspicious, and of course this will lead, if you're just coming in, I promise you the second half of the show will be with green hoodie, and I've done some stuff that I promise you, as far as the height of green hoodie, in my opinion, I think we could narrow it down to a few inches, in my opinion. And there was a couple ways that I was able to do that. But this was released through At Night and, Dog's team on December 7th. And then, of course, the internet went wild, right? Because this whole situation with them, and obviously, some random person walking up, waiting by Katie's car, yet this person needed to go use the bathroom, right? If they needed to use the bathroom so bad, why are they waiting 2 minutes before Katie comes out? Or are they having some kind of discussion where it's in between the cars where the cameras can't really see? And that individual came from an area that had at least 3 establishments within 50, 100 yards less, with public restrooms that they, depending on how far they walked, but the direction they came from. And we get this notification update on December 13th. Remember, the video was uploaded on the 7th, so less than a week. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they said, we want to address the speculation regarding Green Hoodie. Today, detectives interviewed the person in question regarding their presence on the night of the 25th. We can confirm after a thorough discussion with this individual, there is no evidence linking to Sebastian's disappearance. Seems pretty fast that, you know, they were able to find this person in 6 days. And I think there's another thing, and I'm sure people have probably pointed this out. I think, you know, one of the speculations was this person like a transient, right? Well, I think this negates the whole transient person, you know, like a homeless, whatever, you know, for them to be able to find this person in 6 days tells me that this was not a transient person, and there's much more to this than we know. Me and you, I don't know how much we'll touch on the anomalies, but I promise you, me and you, we will go over that. I did do a live. It was my last live. I did go over that. I thought you were there, but maybe you wanted to know more. But yeah, we will definitely, because there's still so much more with that. I just thought, you know, and I've mentioned this before, kind of take a break from all the cemetery stuff, and then, you know, when things maybe quiet down, get back into that, because there's still more to be discovered. Joel, gas station. Joel, so I'm not sure. Hopefully, not put you on the spot or anything, but so Texas Roadhouse is here now. When we go to the street view, the Texas Roadhouse has not been updated, but if you look now, Green Hoodie came from this direction. Now we don't know if she came around this way or she came from this way. Either one, if you go to this area here, well, you got a New York Pie station there. I'm sure they have a public restroom. There's another one over here. Yeah, it's over here. Not the dental place. I don't know, maybe the dental. Wasn't there urgent care in one of these? But at least 2 established. Oh yeah, and T-Mobile. I mean, I would think they would probably have a public restroom. Not to mention you've got all these just right next door as well. So, yeah, and then you just kind of add on that, you know, well, she needed to use the bathroom that bad. Why did she stop and wait 2 minutes? It just makes no sense. She could have used those 2 minutes to go the other way. Yeah. Unless I'm kind of misreading what you're saying there, but yeah. But we will get more into the Green Hoodie. I don't want to get too sidetracked because I want to get through this. I promise you, I've got some interesting comparisons to a case, and I'll show you some very eye-opening stuff that I think is very fascinating. Then we move on to the 1-year anniversary, where really they didn't make much of a statement. I think there was a Facebook statement, and really the main thing that they addressed on the 1 year, well, 2 things, but the main thing was the having to reply to Fish Stick's 1-year anniversary con, where they're trying to claim that you know, there was alleged sighting, or, you know, that video was Sebastian Rogers, but really it was just the neighbor taking out his dog. And then after that, the only other one since the 1 year anniversary would be an addressing an update about the photo last year in November that people thought could have been Sebastian. There's been so many, I forget which one this one pertained to exactly, but that's it. That is it. That is all they have done. No updates. You know, we really kind of got in a way, a better update. Really wasn't much of an update, but FBI, you know, at least put out that report that kind of combined a little bit of their stuff. You know, the FBI report that came out in last year. I forget the month off the top of my head, but that was really the only other thing that we got. Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with that. Now let's look to the parents. Now this is kind of a tough one because, you know, obviously Chris and Katie have been on God knows how many podcasts, YouTube channels. But I really wanted to bring out the fact that the official national media attention, right? What kind of national media attention did they take advantage of? Let me just get caught up in chat here for just a second, but I promise you I've got some interesting things to bring up. But let me catch up on chat real quick. But that's it. What you're looking at, really, if you really want to break it down, the only major like TV interview was the Nancy Grace. That was it. They showed up on the local channel WSMV. You know, a few times in the beginning, for March more or less, and then the 1 year anniversary. But really, when you break it down, excluding the YouTube channels, they've only taken advantage of Nancy Grace. And then I guess if you kind of want to add in America's Most Wanted, I put it up there. Good luck trying to find that interview or that video. As you can see, when I pulled it on Chat GPT, it didn't even pull it up. That's it. Nancy Grace, that's it. They're really only big major media interview. I mean, that's pretty pathetic, in my opinion. Alan, good to see you. A member for 24 or 27 months. I apologize. Hey, Chris, will this case ever be solved? Yes, yes, yes. I think it'll come down to two things. Either a lead breaks, which is totally plausible, or I think something will happen between Chris and Katie because they have to stick to each other like glue. And I think in a hypothetical, they may get sick of each other, and whoever has done the least, as far as if in a hypothetical they were both involved, and maybe let's say Crispy was less involved, maybe premeditation and after, who's to say that he goes and cuts a deal? I think those two things are going to be the ones that happen. Sensei, God bless you. Member for 38 months. And yes, for the mods, I'll be reaching out in the next couple weeks here. We'll do kind of a group email so I can have everybody, and we'll do a mod appreciation first or 2 week first or second week of March. Winner says, bless you, Chris. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. God bless you guys. It really helps. Keep on the good work, Chris. We know that you make a difference to people's lives, and we love you. Oh, thank you, Sensei. You guys are legends. Thank you so much. Oh, CTB. Okay. Now again, I try not to get into the politics, right? Oh, thank you, Geneva, for the PayPal. That really helps. God bless you. If we get some time, I will maybe pull that up if we definitely. Yeah, again, I don't want to say I have anything against CTB or those other channels. I try not to get, into the politics or all that, but I've heard rumors about that, obviously without concrete, I want to be careful, but it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, the America's Most Wanted, yeah, that really, yeah, it's hard to find. Absolutely hard to find.
Those questions out of the way. Was Faith in the home when Sebastian went missing?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have a key to your home beside your immediate family?
No. No, ma'am.
So here's the thing that bugs me so bad, because I worked on the Dylan Rounds case, obviously. Dylan Rounds case, that was a big, big story, and obviously was in the what I call the 1%, as far as getting up to that top and getting national attention. And then you have a case like Aiden Clune where no national attention at all. And then this case is a case where at any time these parents want to go on a Nancy Grace or, whatever, those studios would do it, So they have those opportunities, and that's the thing. They have that national attention demand for Sebastian Rogers and updates, yet they do not take advantage of it at all. And I cannot tell you the people, the other 99% parents, with missing children would, again, give up their left arm, whatever, to be in that position to get their, child's name out there. And it just makes me sick that, why would you not take advantage of that?
That night, Miss Proudfoot, at midnight when you went to bed, what did you do until midnight?
I had been reading a chapter that I needed to, and I had been talking to my husband on the phone. I was falling asleep on him, so that's when he told me it was around midnight. He told me to go ahead and put the dogs up and go to bed. And that's what I did. I got up, put the dogs where they sleep, and then I myself went to bed.
Now looking back at this, this interview ended up making them have to do a, because Nancy Grace trying to get Crispy to do a polygraph, which he said he would. You named the place and time, but he never showed up. Does that make me wonder that because of that, could that have been one of the many reasons, I'm sure there's many more, that they decided, yeah, we're not going to do national media because we're going to probably get put into a position because they have, obviously these bigger networks have resources that can set up a lie detector and what have you. And did this leave a foul taste in their mouth that they said, you know what, we're not gonna do that anymore. Yeah, no ma'am.
Where do they sleep?
It's his birthday.
They activate that night.
Vista Bragg. We went and picked up our niece. Yeah, I got a call.
Oh.
Vista Bragg.
So, yeah, we had the Nancy Grace, which is March.
His birthday.
December 7th.
Then we had, that's weird, should have been a date on this one. I want to say, and I'm just ballparking it, it was like March 19th-ish. I think it was uploaded, a few days later because obviously they had to edit it and stuff. But this is somewhere mid to late. And this is Chronicles Olivia, again, YouTube channel, right? Obviously, it did get a lot of views. And then this would be really the last time they let any other than local news. Is this the last time anybody was in their house? Now kind of thinking about it. And then we have a small response with the, I don't know if it was even an interview, so I don't even know why that popped up. With the 50K, and then we have kind of two back-to-back interviews, really, of course, local again, one with the local WSMV, and then I think a Fox one, which is the two here that I'll play. Yeah, I think for me, I had to find it like via somebody's YouTube channel, like somebody recorded, like I think CJ, I forget the full YouTube name, that worked with Narc Divers, and I know he had recorded it and played it live, but it's, in my opinion, it's not easy to find. I'm sure people can find it, but when you just type it up, America's Most Wanted Sebastian, again, I know it's kind of like a special, and it was a 3-parter, so it's not just Sebastian only. But again, it's not easy to find. Yeah, they didn't allow America's Most Wanted. They thought it'd be more tasteful if they went somewhere else. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the last time anybody was allowed at least like media appearance. This is interesting.
Katie says she and her son went home.
Did anything happen the night he went?
And then we have the very interesting interview on the anniversary, which I'm not going to play all of it, but I just want to play the highlight of her speaking about Sebastian, sadly, in the past tense.
Went missing. That was like caused him to run away. Was he punished in any way? An argument?
Maybe.
Just a normal night?
It was a normal night. It was a calm night.
That turned tumultuous by the next morning.
It was when I went in his room and he wasn't there. He wasn't in his bed.
Katie says she frantically searched the house and drove around the neighborhood at 6:30 a.m. until she and Sebastian's stepfather, who says he was away for work at the time, called police.
We need you to search your properties every day.
But an Amber Alert and an extent.
Would you say to those people?
Just stop.
Fox 17 News sent the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the lead agency in the investigation, a list of questions in anticipation of this story, including asking if there are any new leads, what kind of evidence detectives have vetted, and if investigators still believe there is no indication of foul play. Sheriff Eric Craddock responded in an email saying, "This is an active and ongoing investigation. We continue to work with our state and federal partners. We will continue to seek a resolution in this case."
What do you believe happened to Sebastian?
And then this question, of course, is always interesting, and the choice of words.
Unfortunately,
I gotta turn up my heat. I'm gonna go full screen for just a second. If you're just tuning in, hit that like button. We're kind of going over just the whole year. We're not going, just touching on a few of the interviews and just what have they done, really with Sumner County and the parents. Well, I should say the stink feet. What have they actually done? And then I'm going to show you guys a little comparison to Candace Cooley in the Dylan Rounds case. I'm going to show you a complete 180 between the two. And then the second half will be the green hoodie. And I promise you that'll be very, very interesting stuff. And I'll probably release a short video tomorrow on that as well. But I'm going to go full screen real quick so I can turn up this heat.
over the last year, I have thought every single day, night, every moment of every possibility of something that could happen to him, where he could have gone, if he had gone with someone, if someone took him willingly, unwillingly, if he'd run away and got lost, if he'd a million different things. And unfortunately, I don't know.
But Katie and a private investigator she retained believe this piece for that truth left no question unasked.
Lie detectors.
Yes.
For yourself
and my husband.
Which Katie says they passed. We don't know what investigators say about the test, but Katie says they have searched her home.
Thoroughly, many times. Cadavers, searchers.
What do police tell you at this point? What do they think?
Unfortunately, that they have zero evidence.
Zero trace of the boy with a smile that's imprinted on countless hearts, especially, Katie says, on her own.
I would just like to tell my son that I love him and to know that we...
The time to come talk with me. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So here we are. So it's an entire year after Sebastian's appearance. There's no really strong lead. There's no sighting yet. So tell me what you're feeling now. Here we are 1 year later.
So question, let me know in the chat. Do you think we'll get a second-year anniversary? Or do you think they're going to start going maybe every 5 years or, you know, I think they'll maybe make an appearance this year. And then I think they'll probably start going to like 5 years or whatever. That's just my opinion. I hope to God it doesn't take that long.
I struggle to put words to how it feels, honestly.
She can never look anybody in the eye, ever.
The
ever
amount of ups and downs, the amount of like possible leads that haven't panned out.
What about this one here? And we're going to touch on this a little bit, not to get too sidetracked, but this video here.
Every day, you know, it's like waking up to this reality that it's actually real. And
yeah, I agree, Caroline.
I mean, Sebastian should be home with us.
Such a great question, Bungie.
I mean, he should be
in school, he should be playing, he should be learning, he should be experiencing life. And until we can find him and until we can bring him home, we're going to keep doing everything we can to make sure that people don't forget about him. We're going to keep making sure that we spread awareness for him, and we're going to keep searching, and we're definitely going to keep praying.
You had a whole year last year to organize some independent searchers. I'm not counting Fisher because I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. Again, I don't want to be a broken record, but when you do something such as the 1-year anniversary con, you're a scumbag. What did they do? What did they do? It's not like they're not in a bad financial situation, clearly. And they could clearly order or, put together, they don't have to be there, but they could organize, different searches. And of course, other than, I think it's so interesting that Fisher put out this whole report, a month and a half ago, that related to something a year ago. I'm dumbfounded. It's not like their child went missing in another state or, 2 hours away. It happened right from their back, from their home. If, the theory of if he walked out, like they have, home field advantage, kind of a weird term, but it's the best thing I can think of. Whereas, with the Dylan Rounds case, their child went missing, they lived in Idaho, southern Idaho, and with Dylan Rounds' case, the teenager Dylan Rounds sadly was murdered. We didn't know that until much later, but he went missing in another state in northwestern Utah. Sorry. And same with Aiden Clune. He went missing in northeastern Nevada, and the mother lives in California. So it's not like they have to go set up a trip, and because she works and she's not in the best financial situation, the mother of Aiden Clune, she could only go out so many times a year, and it breaks her heart. I mean, it's terrible. But here they have home field advantage. And what have they done to take advantage of that?
You've told me you do want to stay positive. I know you both want to stay positive. That's all.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, in your mind, do you see Sebastian coming back through your front door? Do you feel he's okay, he's alive, he's out there?
I dream about it every day. I dream that one day I'm going to wake up and this is going to be a nightmare. But yes, I believe that my son is out there somewhere. I believe that we are going to find him. We are going to bring him home. And we're going to find a way to recover from this. And I'm going to watch him grow into a young man and, live the life that he deserves to have.
Yeah, some interesting quotes people are bringing up. The thing I don't like is the way she, I think I accidentally skipped it, the interview she did with Fox where, about the birthday, and she says he would have turned 16, and then she basically says shit and then corrects herself.
What would you say to him when he walked in that door?
Oh God, I don't even know if I'd be able to forget. And I want to encourage people to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness not only to our son but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home. And I would also like to say that if my son could hear it, that we love him so much. It's a living nightmare, to be honest with you, but at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about...
Just pointing out some highlights because we got a lot.
Is there anything that stands out to you that's the most baffling? Like you're just trying to understand?
How we've gone this long and still haven't found him, honestly, is... I don't understand how we have...
In this day and age, with all these cameras, how is she not entertaining any of these videos? You know, there's so much. Again, the flashlight video, I mean, there's so much. And there's one thing that just drives me up a wall that they have not talked about ever. And I think that's on purpose. And I'll cross that bridge here in just a minute.
I haven't found him yet.
Why do you think Sebastian is still missing?
That's tough to say.
Oh,
I mean, it was the largest manhunt in Tennessee history for a child. And absolutely zero evidence. There's nothing out there. Law enforcement's working due diligently. They are working hard over and over and over. You know, we appreciate everything they do.
Please note, my mods, they do not want to block anybody's comments. And so just please try to be careful. I know people are expressing their feelings and, but just, we can't be careful about who we, just, if you can, try to make it easy on my mods, because my mods don't want to be, they just want to help people in the chat, but sometimes certain phrases, we want to be careful with.
I mean, it is an active investigation, so I don't want to go into it.
Yeah, that's such a strange comment. I don't know why he walked out that door.
It is mind-blowing at the same time that it's been a year, and the amount of people that still don't know about this, it's unnerving, basically.
And you know what's unnerving, Crispy, is the fact that you are in the 1% that you actually have the national media at your disposal because of the recognition of Sebastian Rogers' case. And you could easily go on Nancy Gray's Court TV, you name it. I guarantee you they would pick this up in a heartbeat. They know it's a big case. And you guys don't take advantage of that at all. Almost, I think they feared that, again, like I said earlier, that these bigger networks would have those resources, just like Nancy Grace, where they're going to set them up with a polygraph. I think that after that scared them. And to me, they are trying to cover their own rear ends. And, in my hypothetical opinion, they don't care about Sebastian.
And I know you both want to try to get the word out as much as possible, and that's what this story, obviously that's what we're trying to do as well. There are many people who still do not know that you all have hired a private investigator. Yeah. What can you tell me about the video that he recently...
All right, there's just one more here. We're going to move forward. Again, I will have stuff with the green hoodie. It's going to be the second part, probably about 20, 30 minutes in. But yeah, I'm just playing a few highlights.
And wants to share
something that could lead us to him.
Okay.
See where this goes.
Oh.
I want to try to get the word out as much as possible, and that's what this story, obviously that's what we're trying to do as well. There are many people who still do not know that you all have hired a private investigator.
I skipped this.
What can you tell me about the video that he recently has discovered and wants to share? I know this has been shared with authorities now.
And move forward with, and see where this goes. Exercise every avenue to its fullest.
No
It
stone
doesn't matter.
unturned.
And I know I brought this clip up many times before because to me, you would think you would be related to, again, they're saying look at everything over with a fine-tooth comb, and then over and over again, and that's what I've done with the security footage. And then they have gone on these, random channels and, have issues with that. Yet here they are being quoted as, go through everything and everything again.
No stone unturned. And Katie, you told me earlier you were determined to get to the bottom of this, to get to the bottom of that video.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that could possibly be something that could lead us to him. We're gonna keep looking.
I got cemetery footage, quite interesting, but you guys think it's a joke. I don't know. I think in any other case, I think the response would be a complete 180.
We're gonna keep digging and keep finding and confirm if it is or isn't, because I mean, if it's possible, then it's got to be confirmed.
How hopeful are you that this video truly has something that could lead to finding Sebastian?
I pray that if there is anything even remotely in it that could help us find Sebastian, I pray that it is I don't know how to word it, but it's followed up and found out and confirmed one way or the other, because, I just...
And that's what we did in the cemetery. I doubt I'll be getting a thank you card. Not that I'm asking for one, but again, that's what we did with the cemetery. And again, we, not me, we as a community did that, which is amazing. And, we will do more when, the time is right.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the video. I know it's in it. It actually gives us more rejuvenated hope that we may actually be to the table. And
that you want to say, but no matter what the story is, there are always people who
are part of that. And so many people that are looking and hang in there and know that we're going to find you, know that we're going to bring you home. I miss him so much.
So at this point, it's keep searching. People keep looking.
Keep searching, keep looking. We keep putting up new flyers. I know a lot of places, they take them down after so long.
Would it be you guys taking those down? Because I do recall a couple of people, inside sources, saying that they went to, say, Yogi Bear campgrounds and put up flyers, and then the next day they were taken down. And that is not the only occurrence.
We just keep going back and putting more up.
Yeah.
I refer to my original request just to anyone that's willing. Don't let him become forgotten. Don't let him become lost in the next story. Not to supersede other children, because they all deserve just as much, if not more, attention, because all children do. But I would say just please don't let him become forgotten and lost, because we're never gonna stop. We're never gonna let that happen if we can help it.
With his autism, is there anything else that we should add that you want the public to know right now?
I would say that he is high, what they would consider high. He's so smart. He's a teenager, and going and
miss everything about him, the good, the bad. I miss his attitude.
And then, so I've mentioned this before in a previous live, but I almost wish that the way this was released was differently. I really wish the leaked footage of the car was released and not the flashlight video. I mean, I'm grateful to have anything surveillance. Obviously, as we always say, it's unbiased, it has no teams. But here's what's ironic is the whole taking footage of this, or taking a clip of this security footage of the early morning that Sebastian went missing. Really, when you look at it, the main thing that they were focused on was the flashlights. Or I'm sorry, let me repeat that, or let me rephrase that. The main thing they were doing was trying to zoom in on this car. But the lighting and everything, you just could not see the outline of the vehicle. You could just make out the tail light and headlights. I think that was the main purpose, was to try to get that vehicle out there. And I think the flashlights were obviously something, maybe, extension of that. But I think what's ironic is this was probably the main thing that they were trying to kind of get out there, that there was this weird vehicle that kind of pulled up and parked, and then you have flashlights moving in between, before and after. And sadly, this part with a vehicle turning on its lights completely got overlooked, and it was all about the flashlights moving, which I still think is just as important. But I think that gave the stink feet an excuse not to ever talk about them, because, again, to this day, unless I missed a show where they were on, one of those drama channels, that they ever talked about that vehicle, this anomaly, which is a vehicle. But if you didn't know what it was, I would think you would be concerned. You try to say, oh, well, the flashlights are some garbage truck, and then you flip it to where, oh no, it's a guy taking out his trash can, which we've already debunked that. There's way too many trees. That thing would have been flickering like Morse code. But they have never addressed that. Fish Sticks did one freak out video, yet I could see that what he did on purpose was to kind of debunk and not even really address that, yeah, this is an anomaly. He just tried to flip out on me, and that was it. So I just can't believe, but it's sad. It's unfortunate that this kind of got overlooked, and it was the flashlight video, because I think it would have been very interesting to see what they had to say about this, right? Versus the flashlights. But, we can't go back and change the past. I think one of the neighbors could have had the car on camera, and it's 1 CPA. I think that would be a bit extreme, but I'll be honest with this case, Cooper. It would not surprise me at the same time with how wild this case is. So, I'd say we got about 15 more minutes, and then we'll get to the green hoodie. I promise you, I've got some really interesting stuff. and I will do a short video because I think there's a lot of very interesting stuff regarding Green Hoodie. The height, I could pretty much tell you within a couple of inches of what Green Hoodie's height is, in my opinion. But I just wanted to show you a comparison between Dylan Round's mother, Candace Cooley, versus Katie and or Chris, and what they had to have done, and compare those two, and I promise you, it is eye-opening. So, I ran some Chat GPT on pulling up, a lot of comments and just everything that Katie has done, pretty much minus the podcast YouTube interviews, but just the news outlet and media, and then just their overall what they've been doing, which does kind of add into their podcast and stuff, and then versus Candace Cooley. And you're going to notice a huge discrepancy. And I will show those. But if you're not familiar with Dylan Rounds and Candace Cooley, I'm not getting too much into that case because I don't want to get sidetracked. But I will play just a part of an interview from Candace Cooley. But here's the differences. I guess just in short, for those who don't know Dylan Round's case, I'm sure most of you do. In 2022, around Memorial Weekend, he went missing. He was basically in the middle of this desert. He was trying to grow a farm with, I think, some kind of cattle feed or something like that. It was what he was trying to grow. And he had this other guy that they didn't really know much, but he was kind of squatting there, but kind of helping Dylan Rounds because he had, a lot of machinery that he had to needed help working with. Long story short, he went missing, no body, and then this guy was just there, who ended up being James Brenner, and he actually did kill Dylan Rounds out of just kind of a bit of rage, and anyway, it was dragged out, and it was a mess. But Candace Cooley was on my channel. She was on East Idaho. I mean, she was on everything. Everything. I mean, every other day she was doing an interview with somebody. She even went so far as to the channels that were talking crap about her and made, and said, hey, I have nothing to hide. Here, I'll go on your channel. And anyway, yeah, Candace was a bulldog. That's an understatement. But yes, she was the fierce of the fierce. And there was a lot of things that she got done that, in my opinion, in other circumstances or other parents, or if it was Katie and Chris, nothing would have gotten done and we'd be still in the same position. But here is the differences. Identified suspect, yes, Brenner. Chris and Katie, no public suspect. Body located, yes, 2024. Of course, no with Sebastian. Suspicion of parent, Candace Cooley, very little. And then it says online speculation exists. But the two big ones, media volume, meaning interviews, using your child that, obviously garnered a lot of attention and using that to your advantage. Again, you're in the 1%. 1%. And Candace Cooley, high and ongoing to this day. Of course, yes, the case hasn't been solved, but there's still stuff going on. Chris and Katie, moderate and milestone based, which I think it'll probably just be milestone based, if that. And then the big one, well, they're both big. Advocacy, advocate level. Very aggressive, and I think that's an understatement for Candace Gully. Public. Chris and Katie, limited. Let me say that again. Advocacy level, Candace, very aggressive. Katie and Chris, limited. Pathetic, in my opinion. Absolutely pathetic. So here is something, and this kind of relates to Sebastian Rogers as well. And this is something that Candace did. And of course, for those that know, I worked on the case. I was out there searching for him. I even worked with Texas EquiSearch, some of the same people that were out there searching with Texas EquiSearch when I was out there with Dylan Rounds were actually the same group that went out and searched for Sebastian Rogers. But then we have the difference between Candace and the Stink Feet. And here is Candace, and this was huge. This was so big. And I'm even going to put it full screen. So one of the things that Candace noticed right away in the first couple weeks to a month is that they noticed that, I'm pretty sure it was Box Elder that was taking the lead in the beginning. They botched it big time. They weren't taking evidence in. They literally left the main perp, which was James Brenner, still on the property where he was actually getting rid of evidence, even while they were out there, which was absolutely terrible because they could have used a lot more evidence against him to, garner some kind of deal to get Dylan Rounds back sooner. But they screwed the pooch big time, and Candace was not having that. And she knew that she needed to get another agency involved. And guess what? She got another county involved, and then just as big, the FBI. And then once that happened, boom. And here is that little clip right there. And sorry to kind of get off. Again, this is just comparing. But again, they're still in the same situation because, Seth wants to get it out of Sumner County's hands, wants it in the FBI. God, I hope to God, somehow that happens, because I think the second that happens, things will change drastically, in my opinion. But here is her, and you'll notice she just kind of got done crying. Well, she's still emotional because she was saying that she just found out that FBI is now kind of taken over after advocating to get it out of, I'm pretty sure it was Box Elder, because they botched it. So here is just a 2-minute clip of this, but this was huge. This was literally a huge pivot in the case of Dylan Rounds.
Find everybody areas. There was a few suspicious things they went and looked at that didn't turn up into anything. And then it was that Sunday that I was told the FBI had reached out, and that was all the information I'd gotten, was the FBI's reached out. And then by Wednesday, I think it was that Wednesday, we were in touch with an agent, and things finally started happening. So the 15th is when Box Elder came out. It was criminal, and that was after the FBI got involved, but they'd lost 17 days at that point with the same evidence they had 3 days into it. So, they did take Dylan's campers.
Finally, when the FBI came, the day the FBI arrived, they took the campers.
Yeah. What about his trucks?
And I reached out to Bonneville County, and they reached into ISP, and they have the truck.
The pickup.
The
pickup. And then the tractor he was driving, I don't know if I've reached out to ISP and stuff to go check the ECM on that to just get an idea of when that tractor was running. I haven't heard anything about that yet. It's in Rupert.
That might give you a clue there.
Give an idea of when the tractor was actually running.
You think about something like this, and I'm sure it's gone through your mind. Was it an accident? Was there some sort of accident? There's also the possibility of suicide. And I mean, it's out there. You look at all the options, there could be that, and then
I keep getting texts and calls. He's in a building in Montana. I mean, in Montello, and
Which
but
is what you're hoping.
suicide
Right.
had never crossed my
No.
mind. Not one time.
never any sign of mental illness. Never.
No.
So that leaves the accident or the criminal, which now that they're saying it's criminal, I mean, what do you think happened?
Somebody did something. I mean.
And then also the fact that Candace was on all the channels, of course, on mine. I can't remember how many times she was on my channel alone. In between going on national media channels and all that, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, you just Google Candace Cooley and you get interview after interview after interview after interview. Just so much. She was everywhere. Everywhere. Doing videos while she's driving, or well, she would stop. I'm sorry, she wasn't driving, but she would stop. But I mean, she was relentless. She was not having that a department was just sitting around twiddling their thumbs, and thanks to that, she ended up getting the right departments involved. Of course, the FBI and I think it's Weber County, which was a neighboring county. And once those two took over, Brenner would be brought in for polygraph and then eventually arrested. And yeah, just there's so much I could go into that case alone. But again, all because of her fierceness to know that, just like in Sumner County, she was, an agency wasn't doing enough. No, there was a couple other things I wanted to bring up. Ooh. Wasn't there a petition for something like that? I don't know if it was like to get them fired. I think it was more of a petition for FBI to take over. So Sparky, I guess in a way, yes. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but I think there was. Yeah, and I know 99.9% of the ladies, the mothers, grandmothers in here would, with the opportunity, they would be doing, you guys would be doing the same thing that Candace would be doing, But again, that's just one example of, looking at two different cases, especially in their infancy, early days, and what, seems like the stink feet are very complacent, whereas Candace wanted answers and she was not afraid to share theories all the time. And, the theories would evolve. And that's one thing we've never really gotten, except I think the biggest we've gotten was from the Hatfield McCoys, with Crispy talking about, his two big theories, which are kind of disturbing to hear. But yeah. Right. I'm sure 99% of you ladies would. Kitty, what are we talking about? Blocked. I see all your comments, Kitty. Yeah, Katie, all your comments are up there, not to get distracted. But yeah, you haven't been blocked. The only way you may get blocked by YouTube is sometimes there may be a certain word maybe you used. But yeah, there's nothing blocked in here. I can see who's blocked and not. But anyway. Yeah, it might be on YouTube's end. Yeah, it's not on our end. I see everything because if we did it on ours, I can see who's blocked or, timed out or anything. Um, yeah, I don't know. Might have been a trigger word or something. I don't know because I can't. But all the comments I see are up there. All right, so now green hoodie, height, and more. And I've got some very interesting stuff. I released something for the Patreons. And yeah, so some interesting stuff we'll touch on.
They read license plates. Well, just answering your question.
I thought I would add in the God, it's so darn long. These I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think the last time Crispy or any of them Katie was there. He said Katie was there, but of course Crispy's doing the talking. No surprise there. Was on Queen Bee. I'm not sure the date. From what I understand, they've been pretty quiet the last week or so, which is interesting. Maybe they're gearing up for the 1 year anniversary or 2 year anniversary. I'm sorry. But yeah. Yes, Bubble Beth. And that interview that I played, not to get sidetracked, but that interview I just played with Candace and Justin. Candace and Justin, I don't want to get into their personal lives because that's, nobody's really business, but they, they're divorced. And I heard, as a lot of divorces, a lot of them go, really bad, and from what I heard, again, through the grapevine, not saying it's 100% true, but it was kind of a bad breakup, but they came together, right? Candace was on Nate Eaton for a while just by herself, but then Justin came on to provide support, and then I think after that they were both always on. But anyway, but yeah, that just shows you, that hey, we're gonna put our differences aside, and we're here for our missing child. Oh, one thing just want to mention before I forget. The pets. I was waiting for one person to send in some pet photos, and they did, I believe, yesterday. So I think I have enough, and if not, I can just incorporate it into the shorter one that I have because I have two right now, two outros. So either way, but yeah, I should have those pets. If you did send in one in the last month, last 3 weeks, be patient. I should have those up. If everything goes smooth, probably by Friday. So be patient on that, and I will let you guys know.
No, that's actually a lie. There was no money stashed up underneath the mattress. Now, what the actual story there is, yes, law enforcement went through Sebastian's room thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to what level of thoroughly is...
Oh, that's weird.
Depends on the person. Now, Sebastian had a piggy bank that had money in it. Piggy bank was in his bedroom, or excuse me, in his closet on the floor with no money in it. So that was one of the questions why they kept asking if Sebastian had any money with it.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, nobody could find it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So after all this time goes on, I think it was like after law enforcement called off the search and went to the investigation side. We asked, can we clean up his room and put it back in order? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Right.
And they said yes, we were given permission. I said, all right, fine. So I went in, any money with it.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Because depends on the person. Now, Sebastian had a piggy bank that had money in it. The piggy bank was in his bedroom, or excuse me, in his closet on the floor with no money in it. So that was one of the questions why they kept asking if Sebastian had any money with it.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, nobody could find it. Okay.
Wait, what? So he had a piggy bank, but there's nothing? Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Yeah, maybe YouTube had some issues.
Mm-hmm.
So after all this time goes on, I think it was like after law enforcement called off the search and went to the investigation side. We asked, can we clean up his room and put it back in order? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Right.
And they said yes.
I love how he adds in put it back to order. Uh-huh. Or did you guys just get rid of everything?
Yes, we were given permission. I said, all right, fine. So I went in, I took pictures of his room as it was, and then I took pictures as I cleaned up. Went into his closet.
Why would you need to express this info? Why would you need to go into this much detail? He knows that people are wondering, why have we not seen pictures of the bedroom? Why not release those? What if there's something in there? You know, maybe this isn't nefarious. What if there's something in one of these photos that, you know, what is it going to hurt if there's, you know, any sense of information? It can be easily, you know, blurred out or whatever. Why haven't any of these photos, why not release these? I find this very interesting. I miss this part because I cannot stand listening to 5-hour live shows. I don't know how these people do it. Again, I have nothing against it. I just don't know how they do it.
Started rearranging, like fixing up his closet for everything was all over the place. And in his closet, I found it's like a wood kit you can get from Home Depot or Lowe's.
Mm-hmm.
Katie and him used to get those all the time. They used to do those. One of them was an ATM machine. Law enforcement didn't even check it. When I was in the closet cleaning up, I picked it up and it felt heavy. And when I shook it, like, wait a minute. I opened the top and I looked, and inside I found his money. So I took pictures, immediately went into the living room, told Katie, I said, call the detectives, call Bobby, get him on the phone. And we were talking to Bobby Simmons. And I said, hey, I found his money. He's like, what? I said, I found his money. It's a makeshift pig.
Okay, I'm going to listen to this because I've listened to part of it. I've kind of skipped around because I was looking for certain quotes. I missed this part.
Piggy bank wood kit says ATM on it. He was like, what? And then I took a picture, I videotaped it, sent it all to TBI and to detectives, showing them, say, look, this is what we found, yada, 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 yada. He says, okay. Counted all the money. All the money was accounted for. Like, okay. I was instructed to put it back where I found it, exactly where I found it. To the best of my ability, I put it back. And then I don't know, a couple hours later, they came back to the house again, brought in another search team, and went through his room all over again. Took photos, and I sent them photos of before, everything I did after, all that fun jazz. and it all got sent in. So there's no money under his mattress.
I thought that was odd after I re-listened to that. I've done a lot of re-listening because that's just to me that's a big difference under a mattress and then actually in something that was built by him, right?
What, the mattress? The
Well,
bed?
because he said it was under the mattress, that he had stashed money under the mattress, that they didn't find it, but and how they
No.
had turned his room upside down.
No. So Sebastian couldn't stash money underneath his mattress because the way his bed's built, it wouldn't hold money.
Huh, this is interesting. Yeah. I think what Carolyn said, I think it's kind of in a gray area. I think that comment's okay. But I get it. That's kind of a gray area. But I do agree. Definitely crispy for sure. I mean, CPS reports. Okay. Let me, because I wanted to listen to that. Let me mute this for a second and show you guys because obviously I think I released this for the members. Yeah, I think I did. But for those that aren't members, haven't seen this, but I have done something else as well. I never heard Seth mentioning that, but again, that is not. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they tweak or, you know, trying to twist his words. All right. Before we listen more to that, I want to show you guys, and this is just one part. I'm going to show you guys an even better part that I thought of today. So, for those that haven't seen the Patreon or members, one of the things is trying to identify Green Hoodie, and there's been some names thrown around, or if it's male, female. But one of the ideas I had was, well, we know Sebastian and Green Hoodie would walk in the same path, right? So if I were to, and of course the video is static, meaning the camera doesn't move. So if they walk in that same path, doesn't matter if it's different times, but if they walk in that same path, I can overlay the two different clips to where I can show Sebastian and Green Hoodie. And so here's that, but then I promise you I got a part 2 that I discovered, that I thought of today when I was doing this. And yeah. So let's just look at what could be the height of Sebastian Rogers. And Green Hoodie, we know, is going to walk and literally walk in the same path as where Sebastian was standing. Now, again, this is not, right down to the exact inch, but this will give us an idea, right? If we were to overlay them as they were both walking in that same spot, and then kind of overlaying, and here that is. And so we see Green Hoodie there. Let me, and then we'll get back to listening to that as well if there's more to that. I missed that part. So there's Green Hoodie, right? And we know that Sebastian was just standing there before she came out. And as you can see there, I have them both in the same spot, more or less. Of course, they're kind of positioned slightly different. But you can see the top of Sebastian's head, and we can see Green Hoodie just a little bit taller. Just a little bit. Right there. And I'll put a static line. I do it a couple times here, but There's no question that Green Hoodie's at the very least as tall as Sebastian, which at that time was 5'5". And here in just a little bit, you'll see I do another pass, and I'll put a static line for Sebastian versus Green Hoodie, and you can clearly see. And keep in mind, Green Hoodie, a good portion of when she's walking, I called a she because, in my opinion, I believe it's a female. Again, I don't know 100%, but that's just my theory. You notice that she does kind of have her head a little bit down. So obviously, if she had her head kind of up a little bit more, it wouldn't be much, but it would be, a little bit more difference. So right there, I put Sebastian when they're literally in the same exact spot. Sebastian's top of his head there. And so you can see that clearly Green Hoodie is, in my opinion, without a doubt, slightly taller than Sebastian Rogers, as seen here. Right there, we have the top of his head, and she was just right here a second ago. So I put that out. I thought that was interesting, kind of thinking outside the box of how we could kind of look. And here's a kind of a more zoomed in portion of this as they both. So there's Green Hoodie, and then Sebastian's going to kind of fade in and fade out. Right there, we can see the top of his head, and then keep in mind again, she's at that point where she still kind of has her head down. So again, I think if she raised it up a little bit, probably be, in my opinion, a few inches taller than Sebastian. In my opinion, of course. But no, without a doubt, at the very least, tall as Sebastian, most likely a few inches taller. I agree, Moose, and we'll go get in more into that, and I'll kind of go over. Yep, I agree with Kitty. I'm sorry. I agree. We'll go over that. Terry Lynn only talked to CP. I recall the chat where she tells him she can't stand him. Yeah, from what I understand, I don't want to get too much on the politics of it, but from what I understand, Terry Lynn kind of flip flopped. Yeah, really odd. But so there's that. Now, I didn't think about it because I was just thinking about the nighttime part of it. And Katie herself, she walks when she's coming out. She doesn't walk in this area. She's not in the same space as Green Hoodie and Sebastian when she comes out. But then when I was putting this live together, I had realized that that when she got there, she does actually walk in the same path as the other two. And so wait till I show you guys that, and then I think we could say within a few inches, in my opinion, what her approximate height is. Is it normal to have short wigs like that? Are we talking about Katie or Green Hoodie? Would you have kind of a haircut like not saying it's not possible. I mean, if this was all nefarious and all connected, I sure, it to kind of change your appearance, it's certainly plausible, I guess. So, before I get to the height, I think the best candidate is KK's mother. She is 5'7". Katie is labeled as 5'7", which is very important when we get to the other part that I built. And the fact that her hair before Sebastian went missing was longer. So here, just after Sebastian went missing, so for those that don't know, KK's mother is an RSO, and she is what they call a tier 3, which is, in my opinion, from what I understand, there's tier 1 to tier 1 through 3. So she's at the top, and so she can't be around kids, and she has to update her photo every May. Notice it's May 2024. So that means this year in May we will get another photo. But what's interesting is, notice right after Sebastian went missing, she's got short hair. But when looking back at Facebook pictures and video, she had long hair before he went missing. So, is that a coincidence? And I would say it's tough because we don't have like a full body of her frame that's more recent. We have one that's 2023. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat from the video. To go back and look. Oh, 2021. But yeah, the mother, the face, the hair, which is kind of a blonde, but the fact that she had long hair throughout Facebook, all of her photos, going back, I mean, even back to 2007, it seemed, unless she was wearing a wig or something, it appeared she had long, kind of curly hair. And then, interestingly, months after, so in 2022, in May, when she had to, update her RSO photo, she, which you'll see in this one here, she had longer hair. The one with the red T-shirt is the most recent one until we get one this year. This was right after Sebastian disappeared. This one, as you can see, 2022, she had longer hair, and I think in Facebook, it reflects that as well. Of course, I did kind of the body type thing. Again, her body, it appears she has lost weight since this video, so do keep that in mind. I kind of, part of the reason I played that video was to kind of show her hands, because I feel like the movement of the hands reflect, thank you, hindsight, reflect, it reminds me of how my mom walked around certain things, like around cars or anything that may trip her, or she might, yeah.
Them photos of before, everything I did after, all that fun jazz, and it all got sent in. So There's no money under his mattress.
I thought I've done a lot of re-listening.
The bed?
Well, because he said it was under the mattress, you know.
His bed's built. It wouldn't hold money.
Bless. Oh man.
He had on the table that couldn't find his money, and that Sebastian walked out of the house and he had money with him. Like I said, everything has been left on the table. Nothing's come off the table.
Did he teach him how to carry a wallet and all that stuff, though? Was that for real? And how to do a bank account, or is he full of shit on that? Pull off.
So my statement about this is as true as I can to his original statements.
Okay.
That's a form of social media.
True. True.
You have to log into a PlayStation account using an email.
I didn't know that.
PlayStation is a form of social media because you can talk to individuals online. You can chat in a chat box online. These are things, but it, like I said.
But yeah, but you got to have a game to do that. You can't just have a PlayStation. You know, you got to have a game, and you know, I get if he was playing Roblox and he was on there a lot where you're chatting a lot, but I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on that statement. Because it makes it sound like, oh, you got a PlayStation, you got an email, you know, you're going to be chatting with anybody. You know, most people chat with headphones, you know, they're gaming. It just depends on the game itself. I don't know. There's a lot of gray area that, yeah.
What he had at his father's house, we do not know. I only know what he had here, and that's the only thing I can speak on.
I was raised that same way.
All right. I was hoping maybe to cut more into that, but I don't want to go too long. So let me show you guys what I did today. Okay. Because it's going much faster. So, and I've got some more stuff that I'm working on with the green hoodie part of it. So then, like I said earlier, I thought, oh, it'd be kind of interesting because again, I forgot that, you know, when she walked in, she actually kind of she goes around the pole, whereas when she's coming out, she goes around the other way. But as you can see here, she is actually going to walk in the same exact area as Green Hoodie and Sebastian. Notice she goes around and in between the pillar. And then watch Green Hoodie's path. Notice they do the same path, except instead of going through there, they cut over. So that means, in theory, if we overlaid them at the same time, and there is a spot, you know, for the most part, because of the camera, her head is kind of, the top of her head is cut off. But when she reaches about here, we can see the top of her head along with Green Hoodie. So we know the height of Sebastian, 5'5". We know the height of Katie, 5'7". And, well, we know the height of Katie's mother, which is 5'7". Anyone want to take a guess if that Katie and Sebastian, or Katie and Green Hoodie, more or less line up? What do you guys think? So here we are. I'm starting to add them both in. That's Katie, that's Sebastian, that's Green Hoodie. I kind of put, because they're overlaid together, I kind of put Green Hoodie a little bit ahead of her, but eventually I kind of start to mash them together. And guess what? Dun, 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 dun. Starting to get closer. Remember, Green Hoodie has this habit of having her head down a little bit. So, imagine if she picked her head up just a little bit. But guess what? Here we go. Here we go. We're going to overlay them all together at once now. And there is Green Hoodie right now. Remember, she got her head a little bit forward here. And there is Katie right there. And if I were to back up Green Hoodie, it would have been almost same thing. Wait, didn't I? Oh, there's something missing that I might have cut out. I think one thing got cut out, which is a bummer. But as you can see, Green Hoodie, a little bit taller than Sebastian. And of course, Katie's still back here. But once she gets up here, we can actually see the top of her head and a little bit of space. I didn't get time to line it up perfect, but she's right here and I can see the top of her head. Actually, if I click just a little bit, I should have slowed this down just a tad more. I'm a little bummed out. This is something I thought about as I was building this. So probably tomorrow when I put this out, I'll kind of zoom in and I'll probably do a still where I take the still, pause video, and then overlay them together and then kind of fade them in and out together, or somehow maybe try to find out a way to yeah. So as you can see, as she's standing here, her headline is right here. I mean, just barely below the edge of the video, and that's Green Hoodie here. And as Katie, because remember, Katie's still a few steps behind, as she enters here. So remember, this is Green Hoodie. And right there, again, she's slightly a little bit, when I line them up, because Green Hoodie has the head forward, it's too bad if her head wasn't all the way up. In my opinion, I think she's taller than Sebastian and no taller than Katie. So what does that tell you? That puts you in the 5'5" to 5'7" range. I would really say 5'6" to 5'8", or maybe 5'5" to 5. No, well, no, because she's taller than Sebastian. So 5'6" to 5'8", in my opinion, at best. But yeah, so I know there's a name brought up, Texiana. Because I don't want to get into the drama stuff. I had some people send me photos of Texiana. I I know probably a lot of you have never heard of her. Apparently, just some I want to say random YouTuber. She's not a nobody. Regarding Texiana, and no offense to her, I'm tall, I'm 6'3", but boy, I'd gladly give up 5 inches easily. But with Texiana, she's lucky if she broke like 5'2", 5'3". There's so many photos out there, and yeah, the height thing, no. And then if you watch Voices of Truth, they put out a great video this last Sunday, and they kind of went over more into this. And Carly, the neighbor across behind the Stink Feet, who is, in my opinion, one of the main players. They have a son who is also on the radar. I would be on, I'll be forward and say, yeah, the body type kind of matches, and even the hair a little bit. But other than that, the kid's in his 20s. And there's a photo of him, on the day Sebastian went missing, in another state, and I believe that the son, Carly's son, I forget, is like 6 feet or something. So, nah. In my opinion, uh, I think right now the best fit, or at least as far as height, I'd say we're looking at somewhere between 5'6", 5'7". When you combine those in, a little bit taller than Sebastian, and in my opinion, looks pretty darn close to Katie. Um, so yeah. Nero says 100% agree, Chris. 5'6", yeah, 5'6", 5'7" ish, yeah, somewhere in the middle there. Thank you, hindsight. The other, okay, there's one other thing, because we've gone a lot longer than I wanted to, and I try to keep these. Mods, I really, really appreciate it. I am going to try to do some makeup lives. Hey, Heather, good to see you, sweetheart. But I did want to point out, this is something else I'm working on. Obviously, we're working on trying to figure out what's the wording on her hoodie. I know there's got to be a way to figure this out. Man, it'd be nice to be able to have the original footage, because every time it's uploaded or shared, a lot of times you lose a little bit of quality. And but there's one thing I just want to point out that I thought was interesting. There's two things. This right here. So remember, she allegedly hands something off to Katie. And if it was KK's mother, Frances, I thought it was interesting. Look at what she's doing right here. I don't know if you guys see that. This is her right here. You guys notice that? She has her hand in her right pocket. I'm sure a lot of you guys have owned one of these hoodies at one point or now. I love those kind of hoodies, especially with the pouch, not just a pocket on each side, but the pouch. It's kind of cool. But I thought it was interesting. She has her hand in the right pocket. She never does that before walking up to the car, directly after. But I thought it was interesting. The second she walks in, she has her hand in that right hoodie pocket. Not the left one, but the right, which, of course, it appears that whatever's going on would be on her right side if she was dealing with Katie. And then another thing that I was looking into, but I still need a little bit more time, is it still need a little bit more research, but it almost looks like there is a part where and it could be just a visual, but it almost appears as if there is something in the pouch. There's kind of one shot where there's a little bit of a belly or whatever, or is there something in that pouch? And I thought it was interesting that if we were looking at that to maybe compare as she's walking out, is it noticeable that her sweatshirt doesn't appear to be as full? Again, assuming this isn't some kind of, the hoodie got bunched up a little bit while she was walking, but that's something I'm looking into. Yeah, I love the pouches. They're nice. Maybe it's money. It could be. Justin did. Yeah, I don't think I've looked. I don't think anybody's came up with an answer. I have some ideas that I'm working on. I think the two main possibilities is it's some kind of navy hoodie, or some, or the next best thing would be some kind of university hoodie. Which I think if it was a university hoodie, well, I guess the navy would be just as big. But if it was some kind of university, say University of Virginia, UV, UVA, there's a bunch of them I was looking up earlier before this. And of course, I still haven't found that right one, but there are let's see, do I have it up? Oh, I don't have it up, but I am working with Grok and Chat GPT to figure out what because I think you can kind of make out the first two letters on each row, which I think is a U and an N. But again, that still leaves a lot of options. I think there's a couple of shots that it seems like there could be something up there. I agree. Yeah, she does. Yeah, just the same as Katie and Sebastian. Yeah, they're all wearing the white sole black top. Yeah. Yep. Same with yep, they're all wearing that. It is kind of interesting. Uh High school? Oh, maybe. So hoodie. That was interesting. Did see some. Oh, that was weird. We had them at all. Oh. What? Oh, it was under shopping, I think. Oh no, that's Utah. No, I don't know. That was weird because it did actually show a couple that did look kind of like that. Do I gotta add in the Arlington, Upper Arlington? Or oh, it does kind of look. Yeah, it's interesting. I think working on that as a group, I think we could figure it out. I think if I could get some clear images on some of the screenshots that I can send into the, Chat GPT or AI, I think we could figure it out. Oh, thank you, Heather, for the PayPal. God bless you. You guys are so sweet. Yeah, I've been looking that up, Neuro, because it looks like U is on the top and then N. There's two words, and it looks like the top one starts with a U, and then the bottom word starts with an N. There could be a couple of variations of those two letters. I'm still working on that. And then I'm working on how many words could there be on the top, because there could be, I don't think, more than 3 to 4. And then I think at the tops it's maybe a 5 to 6 letter word on the second row. But again, there's still a lot to be done. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd be curious to see. Oh, prosthetic leg. I don't know. I guess I'd have to watch people with prosthetic legs walk. I don't know. But the way they use their hands right here, just to me that feels more feminine. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But again, that it just reminds me how my mom would walk, especially if there was like a curb or anything that may trip, or you know. And that's just my thoughts. I don't know. A lot there, but I think there's still a lot more that we could uncover. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Yeah, the Navy. Yeah, there are. Well, what's interesting is the Navy is known for having gold letters, because they have the uh, is it Navy gold? I forget, but yeah, they're known for block letters and gold block letter, which that appears. But I haven't found anything that looks exactly like what she has. There are some close ones, but nothing like for sure. Ah, Miriam, I'll be honest. Sometimes it looks like she's wearing sandals. I Yeah, right there, like that, right there, because that's green hoodies. I know, and the strap, unless that's a logo going over, or like, part of the design, because that's pretty prominent to see that white there. That's possible. It's certainly possible. All right, guys. Hey, Lakeside Lawyer, good to see you. No worries. So I'm gonna try to do some makeup lives. I am gonna try to. Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna try to cover. Kind of switch back and forth between the Guthrie and this case, because obviously, we're just around the corner. Um, the pet outros. I just got some more new pet photos in. I'm not gonna be asking for any more because, we just try to do it once a month. So we should get those in by Friday. And then regarding Sebastian's case, we had the keychain idea. Of course, unfortunately, man, I'm so bummed that didn't work out. We are looking into alternatives. If that doesn't work out, then I have other alternatives that we'll do, and we'll discuss those more probably by Friday or Saturday. just because we're waiting on some replies on some secondary options. So more updates with that. But yeah, I probably will rotate so that way it's not stale with the Sebastian case, and then eventually when things cool down again, it'd be nice to return back to the cemetery because there is still more stuff in there in that footage that would be great to go over. Oh, and the last other thing is I do, if you guys remember, I was releasing some of the footage from Kellen Lane, unadulterated, no watermarks or anything. It's free. I'll be doing that on my Patreon. Again, it's free for that part. So I should probably upload something in the next couple of days. I think I'm missing maybe 1 or 2 more hours as far as Kellen Lane goes, and then we'll see about maybe other cameras or other nights, or what have you. But you never know what you guys may see in that, in this footage, between midnight and 6 a.m. And I think I have 4 to 5 hours released, so I know I'm missing at least 1 hour, maybe 2. Oh, thank you so much, Fun. Yeah, regarding Sebastian, it's tough because not only do you have the cost of the shirt, but the biggest thing we're running into, not to get too much into it, but it's we'd likely have to order it and then have it go to one place, and then that means we'd have to either ship it out or hopefully send it out to somebody that's local. I don't know. There's just still a lot of things that are issues with this that could be super expensive, that it would just not really be worth it. I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, but with how much money is left over, even though we still have a lot, but it just, I don't know. We're running into things where all of a sudden it just, like, the shipping would cost us a bunch, and it's just, I don't know, it's a bummer. So, oh, thanks, Eugenia. So, mods, I am going to try to do some makeup live, so I will try to do Guthrie tomorrow, probably usual time, and then maybe just kind of flip-flop between Sebastian and that case. So, bumper sticker, yeah, I mean, trust me, we're going through them all. There's many more avenues than just making the actual product. It's how do we distribute it, and how do we make sure it gets distributed properly, where we don't spend all this money creating something and then we don't have a proper way to distribute it. You know what I mean? And then we're kind of stuck. There's a lot of, after doing all this, with the keychain, we've learned so much that, you may not think of in the beginning when making this stuff. And yeah, it's tricky. So, all right, guys, God bless. And thank you guys so much for the love and support. And we will be back here hopefully tomorrow. We'll cover Guthrie, and then we'll just kind of rotate back and forth. And yeah. So I will do a pet outro, and we'll have a new one by the end of this week, as long as everything goes well. And we will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. And thank you, mods. God bless you guys. The members and Patreons, God bless you guys. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
What you said to me, I get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, now you'll beg me please. Hey, now stay away. say you're sorry. Hate they even loved you, hate they fell in love with you. Hate they even loved you, hate they kinda fell in love with you.